right. We're really having a good time doing it, right? We're back on the Morning Brew with Friends. We're talking with Bernalillo County Commissioner Maggie Hart-Stebbins and our friend Ralph Frakes, a board member of the New Mexico Brain Injury Advisory Council. Welcome, guys. We're talking about beer this morning, and isn't that great? And I think you were thinking, I have a design for that, weren't you?
Begin.
Right? It designs all the six-pack, right. morning brew really means something different here sometimes. But you guys are here to talk about brain injury stuff, and it's a very serious thing. But what's new with the Brain Injury Council? What are you guys working on right now?
Well, one of the main things we're working on is to try to get people to be aware of there's no cure for brain injury,
right,
but there is prevention.
Right.
And one of the reasons that we work so hard with helmets is that it's one of the few things we have to help people, work with prevention. And you know how years ago, none of us were able to just crawl in a car and put a seatbelt on automatically.
Right.
Now we all do it.
And you don't even think about it.
And we don't.
Yeah.
And we need to have that same kind of emphasis on wearing helmets when you need them. Mm-hmm. We work a lot with children, Head Start especially, teaching kids at that level to put helmets on for riding trikes and scooters and bicycles. But we're just starting. This particular event is our first start at working with kids with skateboards.
Oh, very cool. So this is a skateboard safety camp?
Yes.
And tell me a little bit more about it.
Well,
and
we're working with Bernalillo
involved?
County to do this, and we're doing it at Los Alamos Park this Saturday, the 11th, from 11 to 3. And we're working, we have 4 different stations. We're working to explain to parents and children why they wear helmets. Mm-hmm. And then we're having some people help us fit the helmets on the kids, and the helmets will be theirs. Mm-hmm. And
so
then
free helmets.
Yes, and then there's a station where they can decorate the helmets the way they wish. Mm-hmm. And then we'll work through a little course where they can learn how, through the professional skateboard people, learn how to operate the course.
I love it. Well, I wanted to ask you, I had a very bad bicycle wreck years and years and years ago myself.
Oh my gosh.
And luckily I was wearing
a helmet.
A lid, yes.
Yes.
And I scraped up the helmet, not my face, not the moneymaker. Yeah,
good for you. Yeah.
And I was really glad that I had the helmet on. It's one of those things I always felt like, but I was the kid in high school who kind of felt like, my mom makes me wear a helmet.
Oh, yes.
How do you make them cool? How do you make kids realize that these things, that they don't have to be, don't have to be the doofus wearing the helmet, especially on a skateboard?
Well, that is difficult because you're trying to change a whole mindset.
Right.
And that's very difficult. But, we're hoping that if they have some time with people like me, I have a brain injury from a car accident for 14 years now, and it changed my life. Mm-hmm. The way you have to just operate on a daily basis, it's very different. And because of that, it's so hard for children to try to understand that because, you've got your whole life. You can't even imagine that something would affect it like that.
Especially when you're 10 or 12 years old or something.
Exactly.
Right.
But maybe if you start to learn from people like me that it does change your life and it's hard to work with on a daily basis.
How'd the county get involved?
Well, Bernalillo County government, we're here to protect the health, safety, and welfare of all of our residents. And one of our focuses this year has been on youth sports. We just created a youth sports council. We want children to be healthy, active, but safe. And so we're really delighted that the Brain Injury Council invited us to partner with them on this particular thing to help prevent traumatic brain injuries. The Youth Sports Council has had brain injury as a goal to reduce traumatic brain injuries. And so it was a perfect partnership.
Yeah,
it is.
We're really excited about this.
Well, I know a lot of the talk lately has been about football and youth football and helmets and concussions and all of that. Is that something you guys are working on also?
Well, yes, through various school systems, and we're really trying throughout the state to set up a special concussion center where people can detect concussion immediately and therefore get them help directly rather than wait for days and weeks and months before they do get help and understand that something's not right. I'm not operating the same way I used to.
Right. And what are the signs immediately of a concussion? That's one of the things I think a lot of people have worried about through the years is there's a difference between just getting hit hard in the head and knowing that you have a concussion.
Well, from the person who receives it, sometimes it's hard to understand it. So if we all have information about it, we can kind of watch for the signs and help them. But usually it has to do with having headaches, not being able to operate as well. Students very often find that after a concussion, when they're back in the classroom, they're not able to perform as well. And they don't always understand why they're not doing this. And so sometimes people then edge them into classes where they are trying to get extra help for them. Sometimes that's important, but usually with a brain injury, you're not really losing your intelligence level. You're just using the ability to grasp it and use it and function well. You know, like I'm having to fight right now to find my words.
I always do. Don't worry about it. And you know, we were talking politics earlier, Maggie. Were there any bills this year that the governor was looking at that you guys were supporting at the county? I know she signed.
There were a number of bills, really not related to traumatic brain injury.
But there were several things the county was looking at this year that the governor
we've got a huge bill that's on the governor's desk right now to help fund crisis triage centers, mental health crisis triage centers. So it would change Medicaid so that those would be covered. That could be a game changer here. And you know, in the context of traumatic brain injury, excuse me, you know, sometimes people don't realize that a traumatic brain injury can have lifelong emotional impacts. You know, that is, you know, you can have physical impairment, you can have learning disabilities, but also emotional problems that result from a traumatic brain injury. So we see this as the prevention part, again, as playing into our focus on behavioral health, mental illness, addiction treatment. But I would say if there were one priority that's on the governor's desk right now, it's really helping to fund crisis response center where people in behavioral health crisis can go and find the treatment they need.
I know the county commission was trying to put some money behind that too.
We did.
Yes.
And we did.
Remind me of how much. I mean, it was like $3 or $4 million. Am I right?
Well, we just appropriated $1.1 million for supportive housing for people with behavioral health issues, but we just passed a gross receipts tax that'll collect between $18 and $20 million that is specifically focused on expanding access to mental health services and addiction treatment services.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So the skateboard rodeo is this weekend.
Yes.
Show up, bring your little ones, 3 helmets. They will show you how to actually put these things on. And then probably the thing that would have helped me when I was a kid, if I would have had a helmet I could have decorated myself.
Yeah.
That would have made it way more cool, right?
Yeah, more appealing.
Yeah, just like the beer cans.
That's
Decorate
exactly
it yourself, except to wear one of these helmets, you have to be 21.
That's true. You don't?
And where's it going to be again?
It's at Los Alamos Park.
Los Altos.
Los Altos Park.
Los Altos Park. I'm sorry. It's right at the corner of Eubank and Lomas.
We'll see you there.
Okay.
And we'll be back in a couple
Thank
of
you
minutes
very
on
much.
the Morning Brew with Friends.